Hello everyone. So I'm the owner of the Practical 3DP stores on Etsy and eBay, where I make and sell various attachments I designed to sort of improve the Worksharp Precision Adjust system. Um, some of them are, for improvements like this brace to stabilize the sharpening arm here because it wobbles a little bit, and others I made just as additions to add capability to the system. So this video is going to be about this attachment. This is actually a magnet designed to replace the clamp. A few reasons why you might want to use this. One of them is that you can sharpen thin blades without, so you can get low angles without this clamp getting in the way of your angle. Personally, I like to sharpen all my knives on this now. I really don't even use this clamp anymore after using this. I like it a lot better. But anyways, let me show you here. So this is a really strong magnet. I think it's rated for like 65 pounds of pull force. But it holds your knife really securely, as you can see. So first of all, I'm going to show you how to actually install this on the Worksharp. Remove the arm here, and you want to loosen this nut all the way until it comes out. Open up the clamp here, and then you'll pull this out. Set this aside. Next, you'll want to reinstall the bolts. Don't lose your little nylon washer here. Hopefully you can see everything I'm doing. I'm not really used to making YouTube videos. Okay. So now you'll take your magnet attachment, flip it over, and slide this into the bottom. You loosen it up a little bit more. Okay, so if you can see here, there's multiple holes. These are for a different position. You can set the this at different heights, so you can achieve different angles. For most knives, you just probably want to use the top few notches. So line it up with the notches, and then you'll tighten it back down, and it'll kind of pull itself in place. There we go, nice and solid. Okay. I want to show you how to set up a couple different knives. Some are easier than others. Like this Sencut has a nice, doesn't have much of a belly on it. So this would be an example of one of the easier knives to use or to sharpen with this setup. And then I have this Ferrum Forge knife that has quite a bit of a belly. All right, so the first thing I do, if you don't have one of these, I really recommend getting one. This is just really going to help you out a lot. You can't, whenever you're using this, you can't rely on these numbers here to give you an accurate angle. It's going to be off. So what I like to do, first of all, is put this arm in, take my angle gauge, set it on here, make sure it's flat on there, yeah. Okay, and then zero that out. Okay. It was on hold mode. Let's try it again. 0. Okay, now it's zeroed. So I can pull this off and set it to the side. Now you install your knife support. Now this doesn't come with the Allen key. You'll need your own Allen key. I'm just going to leave those loose for now because I'm going to be adjusting it whenever I put my knife on there. Okay. So whenever you're sharpening your knives, you want, if I can get the camera angle right here, you want your blade to be pretty perpendicular to the rod. Okay, you don't, if you can help it, some knives you can't really help it with, but you don't want it to be like this or like that. You want to try to get the edge to be perpendicular. So get your knife on here, make sure your edge is, the edge of the blade's over the actual end of the attachment. Okay, so then what you want to do, bring down your knife support, and this basically just will help you realign the blade whenever you flip it. Okay, now that's tight. What I do is I take the, next thing I do is I just bottom knife support. I like to press it up against the blade and tighten these up as well. Okay, now it's ready. If you have like a reference marks on the blade itself that you can use to line up, let's say the corners here, you can do that, or you can take a Sharpie and you can use the corner of your knife support, put a mark there, put a mark there, okay, and then flip it over. Careful not to cut yourself while you're doing this, by the way. Okay, so that's pretty much where I want it. I'll do the same thing on this side. Now, every time you flip the blade, you're going to get it in exactly the same place, so you're not going to have any issues with that. Okay, and next thing I like to do, put the rod in. And I'm not actually going to sharpen this knife right now, but I'm just going to show you what I like to do. Take your, oh, careful, that magnet on these angle gauges is strong. Okay, so put your angle gauge on there, on the rod itself, and then just adjust it from there. And now, doing this, you're going to be able to get a really consistent angle each time you sharpen your knife. Even if you have your knife, say next time you sharpen your knife, if you got this adjusted farther forward or farther back, it's not going to matter because you have your angle gauge here and you can set your angle exactly the same. Just make sure whatever you use to zero, like wherever you zero this, you zero it in the same place next time, okay? You don't want to zero it like up here or zero it on the base or something. You want to be consistent. So every time you do this, like for me, I zeroed it this time. I zeroed it on top of the magnet attachment itself. So that's what I'm gonna do next time. That way I'm always consistent and just write down the numbers you use. Okay, so set that aside. And then that's all you do. I mean, you sharpen your knife as you normally would, give it a flip, line it up, sharpen this side, same thing, give it a flip, line it up, sharpen that side. That's as simple as that. Okay, and one of the reasons why I like using this over the clamp, over this, is because I also use my brace I designed, and whenever you're using the clamp, which is fine, but it's a little bit more fiddly every time you spin the knife, because you got to put this back in there each time. But with this, you're just flipping the knife itself, so you're not having to do that. Of course, there's more of a risk of cutting yourself, so you're gonna have to be careful. Okay, now let me show you how you do a knife that's got a little bit more of a belly. Pretty much the same concept. You just gotta fiddle with it to find out what works. Okay, so I'm going to loosen these back up. I've sharpened this knife on here before, so I pretty much know where to set this. But in this case, I'm going to move it all the way back. Tighten it up. Okay, so this knife has jimping, and I'm actually going to use it to help me line up. And as you can see, I've actually already pre-marked this with the Sharpie to give me reference marks. Okay, so I want to use, let's see this, hopefully you can see this last jimping here. I'm going to stick it, actually one more step I forgot to mention here. I'm going to use blue painter's tape for this knife. I'm going to stick it down here. This is just another thing just to help you line it up so you're nice and consistent. That's what this is going, you'll see here what I'm going to do in a minute, but I'm going to use this along with this reference mark I added down here. Okay, so again, we're going to line it up with that first jimping on the corner of this. Okay, now I'm trying to get my, see, this is why this one's a little bit more tricky, because it's got so much of a belly. But like I said before, you want to have it as perpendicular to the sharpening rod as you can have it. I don't know if you've seen that or not, but this knife, where it's got with the grind, it sort of angles itself down a little bit where it's stuck on that magnet, but you can flatten it like this. And by flatten it, I mean this edge here, the flat part of the knife becomes flat against the magnet attachment. So if you press it down like that, then you can press up the blade support, tighten it in place. That's going to hold that there for you. Okay. So I got my first jimping on the corner of this. Now I'll show you what this painter's tape is for. I'm going to take my marker, make sure your blade's kind of perpendicular. I got this reference mark here on the blade itself, and I'm just going to add one onto the blue painter's tape. So now, whenever I flip this, I have the first jimping with this corner, and then the reference mark on the tape and on my blade. Okay, now flip it. I'm gonna do the other side. I'm gonna do the same thing. I'm gonna put the jimping on this corner, get my blade as perpendicular as I can, make my mark on my tape, and same sort of thing. So now you can sharpen it, flip it, line up your reference mark, and there you go. Now the blade's in the same spot every time. And this magnet, you know, it holds the blades pretty securely. You might be surprised. But overall, I think it works pretty well. I hope this video helps you, and let me know if you have any questions.